Welcome. Let's talk peptides. Okay, so a lot of practices are stuck, right? They're focusing on those surface level treatments. They're focusing on Botox, on fillers, on facials. But the real leaders in this industry are going deeper. They're using peptides and cellular medicine to connect with people on the outside, right? We want them to feel we want them to feel the way they look. Remember, look the way they feel. And that's what I want to share today. How to bring this into your practice. What is the right way? What is the legality? What is the bigger picture? I know you're all hearing buzzwords, peptide this, peptide that. It's in our skincare. It's, in our social media feed. It's everywhere. So let's break it down a little bit. They aren't a trend, right? This is where aesthetics and wellness and longevity meet. Okay, so I was just at the Peptide World Congress, like last week, I think, the week before, and it was amazing, right? It was great to meet industry leaders, to talk to other people who are in this wellness game. There was a lot of med spa owners there who are stepping into this space and looking at the bigger picture and setting themselves up for success. And then there were a lot of regular providers that were just interested in it for their own knowledge. There's people, everyday people like me, who are there who want to learn more for themselves as well. So, this Congress was sold out. It was packed, and this tells me a lot of things. This tells me how much people are wanting to learn more and incorporate this into their everyday life. So this call today is not going to be a to-do list. You check this off, you check this off, you check this off, and you can get going. It's going to be, let's learn a little bit more. Let's take a deeper dive into the world of longevity and wellness and peptides. And then you can ask yourself, am I a business that's building and looking to the future, or am I stuck in the past? On my call a few months ago, when I'm talking about wellness and telehealth, we really talked about expanding our treatment stack to incorporate these treatments on the wellness side, if you're a med spa, to really hone in on the fact that ultimately you may not have a choice down the road, right? Yeah, I told my gynecologist is opening an entire wellness wing, an aesthetic wing. Why wouldn't I go there to get my full treatment stack? And I didn't come into this wellness space like overnight, right? Like this, I started in 1998, long time ago. And I have pursued this not only for myself, but also in my career. And over the last couple years, what I've noticed is that my med spas are all adding these stacks. I'm helping them. We're putting together their systems so that we're able to treat the client as a whole, right? So this isn't just we do this. Now, obviously, some have their own niche, but even if you're doing injectables, filler, laser treatments, you can incorporate peptides to give you the results that your client wants, because all of our systems work together, right? So over the last couple years, building this out with all of my clients, I'm seeing now that there's a lot of information out there, and it's almost too confusing. I've also started using them myself. I had a minor surgery last Wednesday. I was back at work. I had it at 8 a.m. and I was back on a call at 9:30 working. I know, I'm a psycho. But at the end of the day, I did my full treatment stack prior to my surgery, and then I started my peptide therapies afterwards, and I was back to work. I couldn't believe how well I felt, how great I felt. So being able to use this and speak to it as a client, but then also be able to put the bigger picture together for my clients, is what makes this thing work. So if you're looking at it, your clients are going to want you to dive deeper into their energy, their hormones, their metabolism, right? There's a crossover coming, because we know that to get healthy skin, to have that glow, you have to be internally glowing as well. So personally experiencing myself has easily helped me to shift that into my clients every day as well. So if we're looking at the gaps between aesthetic and wellness, it's closing pretty fast, right? We're seeing those people get NAD, and they're getting their facials, and they're getting their laser treatments, and they're using their peptides topically. They're using those peptides in different ways, whether it's an IV or an IM. There's lots of ways that we can put this together, but anti-aging equals inflammation, hormone shift, oxidative stress. Hello, right? Any woman over 40, clients who want alignment, right? Not just that surface level fixes. We're not just treating faces anymore. We're treating systems. Okay, guys? So what is a peptide? And obviously, a lot of us have dipped our toes into the GLP-1. Everybody's on that craze, right? But they're bigger than just that one drug, even though it's an amazing drug, right? I microdose it I microdose it. I love it. I love it. I love it. But at the end of the day, it's something that's helping me in going through these late 40s. So, what are the peptides? What exactly do they do? They're little messengers, all right? They tell your body when to heal itself, when to regenerate, when to burn fat, when to build collagen, when to balance your metabolism. So, in aesthetic and wellness care, they're game changers, right? If you're looking for a faster recovery, BPC 157, boosted skin firmness, right? We're looking at copper or the glow stack. Metabolic support, fat loss. We know our GLP-1s, right? Or GLP-3s. Muscle preservation, right? We know our Simorlin, our Peptide Strong, energy, resilience, longevity. There's so many peptides that can help us. And we know as we age, we start to lose our natural ability to generate these feelings and to stay at a high level. And when you have celebrities across the board using peptides and using these products, it doesn't help, right? I had a client that messaged me the other day, and they're strictly a med spa, and she was like, "Hey, my clients just asked me for peptides again. Like, we have to get this going." And so, what does that look like, right? Because we have to make sure that we have our system set up first. We can't just throw a peptide at a problem, right? We've got to make sure that we have our treatment stack built out within clinic. So we want to make sure that we incorporate it into our patient journey, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But before we even get into the consultation playbook and how we can build out our care plans, we really want to look at how do we source this, right? That's the biggest problem right now is everybody wants it, but how do we source it? We want to make sure that we stay compliant, right? You've got to make sure that you understand the difference between a 503A and a 503B, right? 503A is a prescription required individual. 503B, we know we can buy in bulk, and that's we're all sourcing from them. But what does this mean for us? Because if you're not sourcing it from a reliable pharmacy, then you're risking a lot of things. So you need to vet your pharmacist. You need to stay compliant. Peptides aren't a plug and play, right? We've got to have a sourcing strategy. So being able to build that out with my clients and source the best peptides around the country has been like a labor of love for me and my clients that are actively doing it right now. And luckily for all of my other clients that are coming up and all of our clients here at Diamond, they get to use that knowledge as well, right? We're sharing it. And if you comment peptide guide, in this, I'll send you a resource with information, training, all of that, so that we can get that to you and you can start learning more how to incorporate that. But we have to understand the legal and regulatory landscape. This isn't just something that you can just get your injector to do, right? There's individual training that's needed. There's a passion for wellness. I place wellness specialists all the time. And my first thing that I look for is, do they have a passion for this industry? Because it's not just about, okay, you want to lose weight, you want to gain muscle here, boom, get it. Now, could we tip our toes into it and not fully immerse ourselves into the wellness? Yes, I'm currently doing that with one of my clients. They're a large client with several locations, and we're just going to baby step some of these peptides and wellness treatments in and build out our wellness consult and then grow from there. You can absolutely do that. That is not something that you need to dive all in and just open your own wellness wing, right? So putting that together and putting those biohacking packages together with including your peptides, right? Like, what is it that they need, right? For me, I was a really sick kid. And so once I got healthy and I'm never going to let myself get there again. So I try to source and do all of the things, right? Your body is your temple. You only get one of them. But the bottom line is that you need to make sure that you have your systems set up first, meaning your pharmacy, meaning your wellness consult, meaning that you have your provider. Those are three things that we need to source right away. After sourcing, then we can match our stacks to those recoveries, our performance, our aesthetic phases, and then we can build those out so that we have those combo treatments. Build out your membership model. Even though in membership models, I'm not a fan, and when it comes to wellness, of a wellness membership. I like a program because everyone's different and you should be able to customize that and build that based on your client, not necessarily a treatment stack or, this product or a bank, right? You have your memberships for your clinic. But when you're talking about wellness, and especially something that someone's getting weekly or monthly, you want to make sure that you're able to customize that for them. So I really like a program. We're building a couple programs out with one of my clients now and really honing in on those things and actually creating their panels. We're creating their lab panels for hair restoration, for skin, for looking at anti-aging, looking at weight management. So we've put these programs together so they include all of that information, and then we can hone in, right? Maybe someone doesn't want to do a crazy panel that I just did where they took 10 vials of my blood out. And I'll tell you why I did that again, but we're constantly checking my labs and getting all of that together. But we're building out these smaller panels as well so that we can really see what is the need and how can you use these peptides for perimenopause, for Lyme's disease, for, all of our gut health. There's lots of things that we can use. And going to the Peptide Congress, and in that resource, it's going to have more information on all the speakers as well. You can kind of dive in to see what they're talking about, and you can see their wins, right? You can see how they've taken people and changed their lives, which I think is pretty cool. That's something that, as when I first got into the wellness industry, that's what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to help people be better, right? I wanted them to feel better. And ultimately that's where I think this industry is going, because now these things are readily available to us, right? Our treatment outcomes over time are going to increase. We're going to be able to combine these peptides with other modalities. But the thing that you can't forget, and this is something that we talked a lot about last week, is that you have a foundation. And if your foundation for your client is not strong, you're not going to be able to throw that peptide and solve that problem, right? Like I'm a medical esthetician. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an NP, right? But I will tell you, you need to make sure that you're giving them and building in that program a strong sense of wellness so that they get the benefits of the peptide therapies that you're offering them. And so what I like to think about this is, these are my four main things, right? You want to look at nutrition. You want to look at their sleep habits. You want to look at their lifestyle. Are they moving? You want to look at their, do they love something like crazy, right? There's a few things that I try to do in my life that keeps me grounded, right? And then meditation, quiet, solace. Those are all things that are important, but can you make your clients do that? We're not in that industry, right? But what we can do is build into that program. And this is what I'm doing with all of my clients. We do their lab panel, we get in their care plans, we build out the treatment stack. And then now we're looking and reviewing quarterly their growth. We're looking at their health. And with that, you're going to be taking all of their information and you're going to be able to put it together for answers for them and consistently change it. Like my functional med provider changes my supplementation all the time, right? Because my levels are different and we're moving in a direction as opposed to just this blanket. This is what I do every day for the rest of my life, right? And so if you're going to be developing this, do we need a nutritionist full-time on staff? No. Do we need a personal trainer full-time on staff? No. But having those partnerships with those providers to upsell or to give that to your members as a founding member offer or something, it's really important. You can't just look at this one picture. Now, this is when you build out your full stack from wellness all the way through, right? You're putting together your care plans, you're following your client, you're getting results. Now they're stuck to you. They're stuck to you for life because I'm not going to stop seeing my functional med provider, right? We used to go for our once a year physical, right? And get checked. And now I'm getting seen consistently and doing my blood work and incorporating peptides. And ladies and gentlemen, do not get me wrong. I'm also getting all the laser treatments and all the tox and all the fillers and anything else that they'll do to me. I'm still doing that, but I'm trying to match my inside to my outside. And that I am your ideal candidate, right? I'm your ideal client. I'm gonna, if you ask me and if I would like to add on an IV today, of course I'm gonna say yes if I have time. If you tell me what I need to do and prescribe to me the wellness care and the aesthetic care that I need to get the results, I'm gonna listen. Not everybody's like me, and some people don't know, but it all comes down to education. And if you set up your wellness program and properly while incorporating these amazing drugs, then at the end of the day, you're going to create you're going to create a client base where price is irrelevant, right? I don't care how much it costs. I feel amazing. And I want to be able to feel that way, continuing on and on and on and on. So, whether you're building out your initial wellness consult, whether you're building out your protocols, whether you're building out your telehealth, whether you're building out your membership or your program, as I like to say, it all comes together to provide your client with a full view of what they need to look like the people that they see, right? Like if you don't think that celebrities are using this all the time and they've kept it as a dirty little secret, then you're wrong, because everyone is. I'm getting NAD every week, right? I am trying to, like, I'm old, right? So at the end of the day, you want to make sure that I can stay at a level, cognitively even, to do my job and to show up for the people in my life. So if you're looking at, what does it look like when you get it right? Okay, so you're looking at your labs. Lab review is the gateway drug. Just like tox is the gateway drug for aesthetics, lab review is going to be your gateway drug for wellness. So if you can get them into their panels, get them into that wellness consult review, we build out the pathways for our clients here to move them through as we incorporate every modality we have in the clinic. And we look at their supplementation, we look at their treatment stack, we look at their lifestyle, we look at their skin health, right? Their body composition, their strength, all of it is included in this program that we build out. And then every week that they're coming in, or every month that they're coming in, we're adding on those additional services. So, what is it? It's 2.6 times a year someone comes in for talks usually, but if you have a membership or a program, it's more like 3.7. That's a lot of money, right? And so if you're looking at this at incorporating wellness, where they're coming to see you at least once a month and they're getting their quarterly reviews, guess what? They're getting their talks as well, and they're getting this. So bringing in this, these treatments and these drugs that are helping us, are what our body naturally produces. How can you go wrong? So integrating that with a passionate provider, you're going to be able to transform the transaction with your client. And so you're not just offering a treatment, you're becoming like a results-driven, facility where now, again, price becomes irrelevant. So peptides, they are a buzzword right now. And we know that we can source them. We know that we can use them in our treatment plans and protocols. We know we can put them in our biohacking packages. We know that we can add them to our care plans. But like, how do you bring it into your clinic, right? I mean, that's the biggest picture. If you're unsure about something, if you're looking, well, that's where we come in, right? We're here to offer that information because we're already doing it. We've been doing it with our clients for a while, and working with them to even build out the model to incorporate this into that concierge medicine, whether it's aesthetics or wellness. So if you're not offering this yet, probably someone else will. And it's just not another thing on your menu. It's about building a model of care, right? So if we really want to jump in and we want to make this impactful, we definitely want to have our systems set first. We want to make sure that we have the treatment stack available to our clients. And then we want to make sure we have the right providers who are passionate about this in your clinic. So if you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the chat, or you can comment now if you'd like to. Peptide guide. I see peptide guide. We have a lot of peptide guides here. I love it. Lots of peptide guides. Who's in here? Let's see. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sarah. Does anybody have any questions? How can I market peptide services without violating Yes. Okay. So you have to follow what the FDA says. And so if we're marketing, we're gonna be marketing them via the word, right? You can say peptide, but we have to market the pain point, right? We're gonna solve the problem. Now, if you look at my feed on social media right now, you're gonna see like 100, because this is what I talk about all day, every day. You're gonna see 100 ads running for peptides. and one of them wanted me to Zell them the money, right? Like I go through it, I'm looking at all of them, and one of them wanted to Zell me the money. I mean, Zell them the money, and I'm like, okay, this isn't a company that I would want to work with, right? You want to work with, you want to be able to source that and market that in a way to your clients, but you also have to make sure that you're using outcomes and you're not necessarily looking at that one peptide, right? Same thing with their GLP-1s, using those name brands, right? So if we're looking at Glow, right? Or creating, even one of my clients is creating, we're building out our own proprietary blends of peptides, which is, amazing when we're able to kind of name it after ourselves and build it into those biohacking packages. Okay. Let's look at what kind of ROI. Well, so we have a client, I have a client that started and she was doing $40,000 a month, right? She was trying to figure it out. She didn't know where she was going to go. And within, I think it was 6 months, of us building out her wellness platform and really tightening up the ship, really bringing in her aesthetics into this. She's now doing 100,000 more per month with this program than she was doing before, and just trying to figure it out. So really following the system and going through and making sure you have these things in play, there's a lot of revenue on the table for you guys, right? If you're not doing it, you're just going to be leaving it there, and ultimately somebody else is going to grab that for you because everybody wants it. As long as we do not make claims, which pharmacies are using? Okay, so we have several different pharmacies. Those are going to be linked in that resource guide. So once you get that, you'll be able to see the pharmacies that we work with and that we're sourcing from. Every state is different and has compliance when you can ship from state to state. So depending on where you're located, we would want to work out which pharmacy would work best with your state laws. So we definitely need to follow and look at your regulation where you're located. Let's see if there's any other questions. Do peptide have to be administered by a nurse? Yeah, so no, because they can be shipped to me, right? Like I administer my BPC 157, right? I do that myself, or my GLP-1, I can administer that myself. In clinic, every state has different regulations again. So depending on where you're located, we would want to build out like your protocols and your playbook, your consultation playbook, and who's allowed to do what treatments. Depending on what state you are, you must be compliant as a nurse practitioner to do that. But a lot of states are, allow you to absolutely do that. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's see. I don't know. Do we have any other questions, guys? No. Oh, wait. What's your favorite peptide stack, personally and professionally? Okay, my favorite. Well, obviously, I love the Glow, which is BPC 157, TB 500, and copper. They're so good. I've had, when I was a kid, I told you I was sick. I've had mono 5 times or 6 times anyway. So Epstein-Barr is real in my life. And so having to stay healthy and get rest is really important. And so that's a really great one to help with your your immunity. And also like, there's a lot of other great things that come. So that Glow stack is yummy. Professionally, NAD is a really easy one to add. Glutathione, we can add it in IVs. And that brings up something else, guys. I hear a lot of clients that come to me and they're like, I tried IVs and they were just expiring on the shelves. Like I wasn't able to move them. Well, that's because you're not building them into your care plan. You're not educating your clients on the benefits of them, right? I know we all don't have time to sit for 4 hours and do an NAD, or 3 hours and do an NAD IV, but incorporating these IMs and IVs, it could be a baby step into this industry, but doing it properly and not just hoping someone asks or hoping someone calls, right? You have to educate your clients in order for them to know what they need and then prescribe it for them. So NAD, it's working for me. Like I said, the Glow stack I love. Let's see. Yes, absolutely. Boutique Wellness. I love all of those. Anybody else? Do we have any other questions about peptides? Don't forget, comment peptide guide if you want to receive our resource, which, we are going to give you the information, but if you'd like to book a strategy session, don't hesitate to reach out and we can get you set up if you'd like to talk a little bit more or do a deep dive with one of our consultants here at Diamond Accelerator. Peptide guide. I love it. I love it. Okay, so listen. If you are wanting to jump into this, if you're wanting to step into the future, if it's your time to lead it, if you want to feel the way you look and look the way you feel, then definitely get with us. Let's break it down and we can look at your systems, we can look at your process, and we can build this out so that you can start capturing some of that revenue that your clients are going somewhere else for, right? Because ultimately they want it, so let's give it to them. Okay, if you loved this training, make sure you share it with your team, with other med spas that could benefit. You can always catch the replay on our YouTube channel. To get access to more free trainings to help grow your med spa, visit our link tree, our social bio, and join us every Wednesday live at 2:30 Central Time, same place. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn.